Hello everybody, my name's Simon Litchfield. I'm the Exchanges and Study Abroad Manager at Durham University. It's great to be able to introduce Durham to you, but moreover, it's really good that you're considering a year abroad. When I was an undergraduate, took a year abroad. It really gave me a real global experience. It kind of helped with my undergraduate, and it really kick-started where I've kind of taken both my interests and also my professional career. So welcome to this session. So we recognise in Durham that a lot of people will have never heard of Durham University, and actually that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we're not trying to be London, we're not trying to be Edinburgh, we're really proud to be Durham. So this image here is literally the first thing that you see when you get off the train in Durham when you arrive. And it's just amazing because the town in its heart has a cathedral and a castle, and the university is set within a UNESCO heritage site surrounding this. So coming to Durham kind of gets you to really be part of life in the UK. So the university is it's about 190 years old. We're set in a UNESCO heritage site, but we've got about 20,000 students, and about a third of them are international students. And we're really happy to receive about 400 exchange students each year, and we kind of send a similar number abroad. But we really do see exchange students as a crucial part of our community here, because it changes our students, and we also hope that life in the UK will change you as well. But Durham, as I say, is actually a very good academic community. We've got really strong research links, and we've got really kind of strong teaching links. And we're located in the northeast of England, so about 2.5 hours by train from London, and also about 2.5 hours by train from Edinburgh. But it's possible to fly to Newcastle. So in terms of our academic qualities, we're in the top 100 in the world and in the top 10 in the UK. But more importantly for exchanges, we've got 27 departments across 4 faculties, which means that actually most students from most departments around the world will be able to come here and study their subject area. The only thing that we don't have is a med school, but you know, that's okay. We've got biosciences, we've got chemistry, we've got the works. This building that we can see on this slide here is our Earth Sciences building, and we've really invested in facilities as well to make it a really good learning experience. And in the UK, what they have is something called TEF, which is the Teaching Excellence Framework. And Durham got gold in the Teaching Excellence Framework to kind of show the quality of our teaching. But we really do have some great professors and some great faculty staff. People like Carlos Frank, who kind of got recently awarded as Nobel Quality. But one of the things that we're also really proud of in Durham is the fact that we're a collegiate university. And it's a bit different to kind of either Oxford or Cambridge, where all teaching takes place in college. But it's also very different to most other universities in the world, where you have kind of student dorms, but you get taught in department. Durham's somewhere in the middle. So we have 17 colleges, which are both kind of, they're real communities of which we hope kind of gives a sense of community and belonging. If ever you meet a Durham student, or if ever 2 Durham students meet and they've graduated and they're alumni, the first question that they ask is, in which college were you? Because each college has its own identity. So the slide here is actually Castle College. This is probably the oldest university accommodation in the world, and this castle, parts of it date back until 1072, I think it is. But genuinely, students live, this is one of the 17 colleges, students live here. But within each colleges, there's kind of student organisations, student clubs and associations. There's a kind of real strong ethic in terms of organising events and activities. There's a dedicated student common room, where during the day you might be able to just sit and do your work, but then in the evening it's much less formal. Each college also has a bar. And also there's college reps, and they're there to kind of integrate you into life at the university. The rep is often a second year who's stayed in college and is there to really help students settle. But on top of that, there's also full-time members of staff there who are there to kind of support you both academically and in terms of your pastoral needs as well. So yeah, we really think that it's important to make sure that students are supported. In terms of support, there's central support services. So of course we got things like chaplaincy and faith support, disability support, diversity and inclusion support. Within colleges, there's, as I say, pastoral support and mentoring. Incoming exchange students all will be allocated a departmental exchange coordinator who's there to be able to deal with any academic issues or challenges that you might have and talk about module choices as well. As I've mentioned, there are student-led support, so we've got reps, there's things like the Exchanges Society, who kind of try to do buddying schemes and run trips for international students, and of course there's an international student welcome. So we really hope that you can feel supported and that you can kind of be at home in Durham and really be part of it. Outside of kind of the academic perspective, we also see extracurricular activities as really important, both in terms of developing yourself and also in terms of your well-being. And Durham's a real sporting centre. It doesn't mean to say that you have to be an elite sports person, but what we actually have is one of the largest team sport programs in the world. So there's over 700 different teams, and that kind of goes from really informal college teams to actually kind of much more formal college sports. And as I say, about 75% of all of our students are engaged in some type of physical activity, even if that physical activity is just walking along the beautiful riverside underneath the UNESCO heritage sites. Durham's a cultural centre, so we kind of got various festivals that go on, such as in the background there, you can see the Lumiere Festival of Light. We organise book festivals. The university has its own Oriental Museum, its own Botanic Gardens, and the Botanic Gardens are lovely to go in summer and just kind of read whatever textbook you're having to read. And actually about 85% of our students are involved in some sort of either music, sport or volunteering experience. And there's about 200 societies that you can join. These are not like fraternities, these are things like such as music societies, chapels, college societies. So really there to make sure that you can have got some, if you're interested, you can probably find it. And then the other thing that I kind of wanted to mention is Durham is magical. It's a bit different. So genuinely, scenes like this inspired the writing of Harry Potter, and in fact, parts of Harry Potter were filmed in the cathedral. But I think one of Durham's really unique selling points is that opportunity to be part of somebody. You won't just kind of be an American tourist in a capital city. You'll get really integrated into college life. You'll kind of get to know the city intimately, and you'll kind of therefore get a really kind of in-depth UK experience. And so the picture here actually is one of the unique things in Durham is it's a college formal where all the students from that college will meet up and they'll eat together. And some colleges are more formal than others. So this is Castle College, where you actually get to wear a gown, again, a bit like Harry Potter. And at the far end, there'll be various lecturers. And it's a formal experience where you can meet, celebrate together, and actually have a really good time. So in terms of kind of the nitty-gritty and need to know things, we only really offer full year exchanges. And what students get to do is they get to study 6 modules for the entire year. And each module is worth 20 credits. So you'll be studying for 120 credits each year. You can choose modules out of 3 departments, but we do ask students to choose one main host department. So the main department, you do 50% of your work credit load, but then you can choose another couple of modules from another couple of departments. Because again, we recognise that there may be students that are interested in something like natural sciences, where you want to do chemistry and biology, or you might be doing the liberal arts and you've got a real interest in history, but actually there's some interesting modules in the music department that you might want to dip into. So you don't have to do all of your modules from one department. I put a link there on the slide to where you can find program information, but I'll talk a bit later about actually the website as well. There are some English requirements in terms of entry, but actually if you're from the US, that's not really an issue for you. So the English language requirements are mostly for our partner universities outside of the Anglophone world. In terms of costs, you don't have to pay any tuition fees to Durham. And also, Durham is in the northeast of England, which is one of the cheapest places to live. It's much cheaper than Edinburgh or St Andrews and places like that. That said, fully catered university accommodation is about $10,000 for the entire year. But as I say, that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all provided with your accommodation. So for the typical year, the nomination deadlines, that's when you've gone through the internal Notre Dame recruitment process. The Notre Dame needs to nominate you to Durham around the end of February. Then you'll be invited to apply. That's not really a competitive application process. That's more about sending us your details, your course, your module choices, and so that we can kind of process your application to join us at Durham. And you need to have done that by the end of March. And then term starts at the start of October. So normally there's an international welcome to be able to kind of, and I've just did that today, and there'll be about kind of a few hundred students that you'll have an induction with. In terms of getting to Durham, the closest airport is Newcastle Airport. Newcastle's 12 minutes away by train, and it's the kind of the bigger city compared to Durham itself. So most people will fly to Newcastle Airport, and if you're arriving at the start of what's known as the Michaelmas term, which you can see, this is the 189-year history of the university, we still refer to our terms as Michaelmas. But if you're starting in October, there's normally an international meet and greet where the university provides buses and will collect students and bring them to Durham from there. But if you don't do that, you can either go by metro, the light rail to Newcastle Central, and it's just a 12-minute train journey, or it's a 40-minute taxi ride. It's also possible to fly to London, which is 2.5 to 3 hours away by train, direct train, or Edinburgh as well. In terms of Durham itself, to kind of give you a sense of size, Durham's kind of small but perfectly formed. Almost all locations are only about 15 minutes walk away. I think the longest distance that I've ever walked from the two extremities of one college to the department that's furthest away is about 40 minutes walk. So it's kind of really nicely compact. And I say in the middle, you've got the UNESCO Heritage Site and the university, and colleges and departments kind of spread out in kind of an arterial manner from that. In terms of university traditions, I've mentioned the formals, where the whole college meets and kind of has a formal dinner with gowns and academics. But on top of that, there's loads of fun events organised throughout the year, such as college balls. There's a matriculation ceremony. There's college days where they just kind of celebrate whichever college that you're in. And of course, at the end of the year, there's kind of an ex-matriculation ceremony as well. So in terms of websites, there's the incoming exchange website, which is durham.ac.uk/global Durham /global opportunities, and then /incoming opportunities. There's also a 360-degree self-guided tour that you're able to do on the website. One of the interesting YouTube videos actually is the Durham International Welcome one, which has actually been made by international students that came here. And if you want to get a real sense of Durham, I'd recommend going on Instagram, because the Durham Student, all one word, is an account run by Durham students for Durham to kind of give people a bit more of a kind of student-focused impression. So do check out their pages. You'll see lots and lots of pretty pictures of life in Durham. And if you've got any questions, do email us. It's incoming.exchange@durham.ac.uk. Now, before I go on to the questions that you may have, what I'd like to quickly do is just demonstrate the website. So I mentioned that if you go onto the website, we're currently migrating between two websites, but it's the incoming exchange web pages. And here you'll find out, you'll see some more pictures of Durham, about the location, and you'll kind of see the kind of the introduction that's given to most students. This is the YouTube channel, Introducing Durham Students. There's a bit more description about colleges. Here we see St Mary's College, which is co-ed now, but originally was a female-only college, but all of our colleges are really inclusive. If you want to find out a bit more about inclusivity and student support, you've got links up there. You can find out about our extracurricular activities. And then if you are interested, if you click on the overseas exchange, because that's the one that's open to our non-European, not fee paying exchange students, if you click on that, you'll be taken to the old website. Unfortunately, as I say, we're still migrating, and there you'll be able to see a bit more about the program information, module choices. You'll be able to see what modules you might be able to do here. You'll be able to click on the how to apply button, and then again you can just kind of find out a bit more there. So, and then if I just go back to, so, and as I said, what there is we've got two Instagram accounts that I should mention. ESN Durham is a student society run by students for students who are interested in supporting international students, who are interested in meeting people. So there's their account, and then the Durham Students is the Instagram account, as I say, run for students by students, and you'll get a sense of actually what you can do in Durham and what our students get up to. So what I'll do now is I'll conclude my presentation. Whatever you do, I really recommend that you do a year abroad. It was truly life-changing for me, and accounts for why I work in an international office and have a great pleasure welcoming students. So even if you don't end up in Durham, I really do wish you the very best on taking a year abroad. So what I'll do is I'll stop sharing, and given that there's actually not that many people here, if you want to unmute yourself and ask me any questions, I can do that kind of really nicely informally.
I'll just quickly say something. Hi, everyone. My name is Brigitte Richmond. I'm the program director here on campus within the study abroad department. I manage all our programs in the UK, so Durham, St. Andrews, Norwich, England, and then London. So thank you for attending this session. I'm really excited about Durham University, and thank you, Simon, for the presentation. All of the sessions this week have been recorded and will be made online next week. So they will be available until November 1st. So you can just log into the website on our Study Abroad week sessions and then view any sessions that you were able to attend. Another helpful information is, as well as following them on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. We do have a lot of takeovers this week, as well as yesterday and earlier. But you get a lot of information on Instagram. We can find details on the website, but when you go on Instagram, you get that student perspective. So definitely our handle is ND International.
Yeah, likewise. I mentioned the ESN Society. It's run by a student who was in 2 countries last year. And so if you want to actually ask somebody that's not a guy that's approaching middle age, that harks back to his enjoyable study abroad days, if you direct message the ESN Society, they're great. They'll get back to you in an instant and give you the real info about Durham. Garrett, do you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know if you wanted me to just unmute myself, or so I figured I'd raise my hand. But you'd mentioned with the 17 colleges, how each one has their own identity. Is that something that you're randomly put into when you apply to Durham, or is it something that you select?
It's a little of column A and a little of column B. So, and what I mean by that is traditionally, we did let students just select a college, not just international students, but anybody applying to Durham. And what happened was everybody wanted to live in the castle. And as a result, actually, there was a lot of disappointment. So what we do is we allow students, by we, I mean the university as a whole rather than the exchanges team, students were allowed to express a preference. And so it wouldn't surprise me if you applied to live in a castle, but it means that you can express a preference, but there's no guarantee that you would get it. What I would say is, if you are interested in coming here, do have a look at all the different colleges, because a lot of them do have a different flavour. So, for example, St John's College, which is a small college in the UNESCO heritage site, is the one which they consider themselves to be guided by faith. It doesn't mean to say that you necessarily have to be Christian to go there, although they are attached to a seminary. But we understand that some students might want to express a preference for that, and that that's taken into consideration. Likewise, there's a college like Collingwood, and that's a more modern college closer to the science faculties, and they have a really strong sports ethic, so they've got really good sports pitches there, and so, as I say, each college has its own flavor. So again, do have a look at the colleges. There's no guarantee that you'll get it, but at least you might be able to kind of express a preference. So anyway, I'll say a bit more about colleges actually. So I didn't study at Durham University. I'll hold my hands up and say I studied in the bigger city 12 minutes next door. And the reason I kind of say, I don't expect people to ever have heard of Durham, because frankly, I never even considered it myself as an undergraduate student. Whereas I am now really surprised about it, about how great it is. But I spent my time living in dorms. And dorms basically were loads and loads of square boxes with students living in there. And there was kind of no real sense of community. And it took me ages to kind of understand colleges in Durham, because I just look at them and go, well, it's 17 large collections of dorms. But the more that you get to know them, you see what's known as the junior common room, which is kind of the informal area. You see the bar, and you can really see how much more students get from being in a college in Durham compared to how much I got from living in one place. But actually, if I wanted to do any activity, I'd go either centrally in town, or I'd join kind of a central club. So they really are kind of really great communities to be in.
And with the modules, so there are different modules for each year that you're there. As international students, are we limited by year, or would we be able to take by any year?
Okay, so typically international students kind of take second year modules, but we don't necessarily constrain you to them. So if there's something that you see that's a first year module that appears to really intersect with your interests, or likewise, if there's some third year modules that you can think, oh yeah, this would be really good because I fancy writing a dissertation on that, then you would have the ability to apply for them. There's no guarantee that you'll necessarily get on all modules, because like every university, if there's an oversubscription in one thing, unfortunately, it's often the international students that will not be prioritized. But yeah, as I say, you can choose between years 1 and years 3, but most students kind of take year 2, because sometimes the year one you don't really want to do an introduction in your subject again, but then actually thinking about your own academic developments and your kind of work-life balance whilst you're in Durham, it feels like an appropriate level.
Thank you.
No trouble.
Do you guys have any questions on like the application side on our end? All right, well, thank you. I think, Simon, we can go ahead and conclude the presentation.
Okay, well, thank you all so much for coming. What I'll say is I'll sit here for another couple of awkward minutes afterwards, and once some students have cleared off, if you've got anything that you want to kind of more privately discuss or anything like that, then that's fine. If not, then yeah, have a great day and a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.